Hey guys, it's Caitlin and welcome to my channel. I'm really excited for today's video. Basically, my physical TBR has gotten so out of control. I have 26 unread books on this shelf, which is so bad. And I used to be really good at just reading the books that I have and not buying more until I had maybe like 1 or 2 unread books. But clearly something has changed because things are out of control. Also, this sun is out of control and I'm so annoyed because I already filmed this before, but my camera was recording in slow-mo, which so annoying, but at least I found out now and didn't record this whole video in slow-mo because I was just about to edit a vlog for you guys and it's all in slow-mo. So I had to scrap that entirely, which is so disappointing, but it is what it is. Here we are. Now the sun wants to be annoying. So I hope that's okay for you guys. But what we're gonna do for this video is I'm actually going to spin a number randomized generator. So I have 26 unread books on this shelf, and how this is gonna work is book number 1 on this wheel is going to be the first book that I haven't read on the top shelf. So the first book up here that I haven't read is The Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer, which horrifying, I know. And then it just goes down the row, onto the next shelf, down the row, until we hit book number 26, which is A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf. So I have my number generator here. As I said, this is the second time recording this video, so I'm kind of getting a second chance at this, which I feel like is cheating, but at the same time, I can't like fake a reaction. I am not an actress. I barely express emotions through my like voice and face anyway. So trying to recreate that, I would just feel like I'm lying. But the book I did pick was The Gulag Archipelago by Solzhenitsyn, which is a giant piece of nonfiction. And I just finished a nonfiction book, so I'm kind of happy that I get another go at this. Although I could end up with this again, or I could end up with something even bigger like War and Peace, because that is on this shelf. But I'm gonna try not to get too nervous about this. It is what it is. I'm excited to read all of these books. I'm a bit worried at what's gonna happen. So with all that being said, I'm going to spin this wheel and we're gonna see what the first book I have to read is. Oh wait, no. I didn't screen record. Okay, I'm not even gonna look at like what it is. I'm just gonna, okay. I feel like I'm just cheating at this, and I swear I'm not trying to. Like I can't rig this. It's a random number generator. Okay, I'm about to screen record, and now I'm going to spin the wheel. Like actually, I'm gonna put it right here. Okay, I'm trying not to look. I'm a bit nervous. What if it's War and Peace? Okay, book number 13. Based on this, I'm gonna assume, I kind of want to take a guess. Okay, it's either gonna be something from my Russian/Eastern Europe shelf, or I kind of have a feeling that it might be one of my Jane Austens that are right here. But let me count and see what book number 13 is. 10, 11, 12. Wait, why was I right? Why was I right? Number 13 is Emma by Jane Austen. I don't know what my deal is with Jane Austen. I don't know if I just like can't connect with her, but I read Pride and Prejudice, honestly didn't love it, and I've tried to read Emma a couple of times and just haven't been able to get into it. I even got this gorgeous vintage classics edition to try and motivate myself to read more Jane Austen because I really want to like her. It's just, I don't know. I haven't been able to get into it. But I don't know. Maybe this time it's gonna work. I'm hoping. This is a pretty chunky book. It's over 500 pages. It's like 550 pages. And the back has a quote. It says, "Dear Papa, you cannot think that I will leave off matchmaking." From what I know, Emma is a self-proclaimed matchmaker and tries to set up a bunch of people. I don't know if she sets up people and she kind of knows the relationships aren't gonna work out, or if it's just how it happens. The people she sets up don't work out. Like, I don't know if she's intentional in that or not. I know so many people love this book, and I actually watched the movie with Anya Taylor-Joy. Is that her name? I always get her and then Aaron Taylor-Johnson confused, because what are the odds of that? Like, let's be so for real. But I did watch that a few years ago. I did like it, but I can't really remember like all that went on. I more so remember the outfits because I love an outfit. I'm really gonna be so upset if this is gonna be the second Jane Austen that I'm just not super into. So I'm gonna get started on this and I'll come back to you guys once I have some updates, some thoughts, some things to share. See you then. A week since my last clip talking. I'm currently in Florida. It's beautiful here. The sun is out. It's actually warm, which don't even get me started on Northeast weather right now. I don't want to go back there, but I wanted to give you guys a reading update. To be honest, I haven't been reading that much this week. I've been so busy with work and I've been going more into the office, which definitely has impeded my reading. Oh, I also switched to my Kobo because I didn't want to risk damaging my beautiful copy of Emma. I also didn't want it to get yellowed from the sun because I intend to be outside all weekend. But I'm 20% through Emma and I'm really enjoying it so far, which I'm so happy about because I really have not been able to get into Jane Austen and I've wanted to for so long and I'm finally here. So our main character is Emma and I don't really like her. I think she's very naive. Granted, she is 20 years old in this story and she lives a very sheltered life. She becomes buddy-buddy with this girl, Harriet Smith, who I think is 16 or 17. She's also of a lower social status than Emma. And Emma is kind of feeding into this idea that this man, Mr. Elton, who is of Emma's social status, will marry Harriet Smith, and is kind of putting that idea into Harriet's mind, which I don't agree with, and neither does Mr. Knightley, who is Emma's brother-in-law, technically. And that's like a whole other thing because Mr. Knightley is going to be Emma's love interest. There's no love between them right now. Mr. Knightley calls Emma out on this idea. I'm not sure what actually happens yet, if they do get together or if Mr. Elton just outright rejects Harriet. I'm not sure yet. And I think Harriet should have married the guy who actually proposed to her and was of her social status. So that's a whole thing happening right now. Emma is really pushing to get Mr. Elton and Harriet together, so I'm gonna see what happens there. I do really like the writing. It feels so proper. I I'm like reading it in a British accent in my head for whatever reason. But yeah, I'm happy to say I'm enjoying it and I can't wait to continue this later today. That's my update for now, but I'll let you guys know when I'm further into this book. I'm trying so hard to avoid burning right now. Apologies for the hair, although my hair never really looks great. Like, what are these? But I was at the pool all day. While I was there, I did a lot of reading of Emma, and I don't know, sometimes I'll be reading it and I'm into it. Other times I'm just kind of bored because of their way of speaking. I also feel like, how do I put this? Sometimes they try to be so polite that there's a lot of undertones of what these people are actually trying to say. For example, Emma and Frank Churchill were trying to talk about how plain Jane Fairfax is without actually stating it, and everything is kind of coded with a compliment or you know, some type of politeness, but then underneath it is how they actually feel about Jane. So sometimes I will say it's a bit difficult to gather those thoughts, especially if I'm not really paying attention or if I'm a bit bored. I definitely glean over those and be like, wait, what? I thought you didn't like Jane. But then I reread it and it's like, oh, you're actually trying to talk shit about her in a polite way. So a lot of dialogue in Emma. I don't even really like Emma. I just kind of want to see who she ends up with. I know she's interested in Frank Churchill, but I think she ends up with Mr. Knightley, and I want to see how that plays out. I also just feel like Emma is shitting on Jane this whole book. I think my last update was about Harriet Smith. Things didn't work out well for her and it was Emma's fault, so that was a bit expected, but overall I'm having a good time with it. As I think I mentioned, I don't remember, I'm almost halfway through and I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm interested to see if anything else is going to happen with Harriet. I want to know what's going to happen with Jane and Frank Churchill. I want to see if we hear more about Mr. Elton and his impending marriage. I just feel like I'm quite literally in the middle of the story and there's a lot more that's gonna unravel. So I am enjoying it right now. Thank God. I'm happy that I'm finally enjoying Jane Austen. So that is my update on Emma and probably my last update in Florida. I'm leaving tomorrow night, which really makes me sad because the weather has been perfect here, and now I have to go back to the East Coast where the weather has been between 30 and 40 degrees, and today I was outside in sunny 80-degree weather. But I'll see you guys when I have another update and when I'm back in New Jersey. Hey guys, so I'm back in New Jersey. It's actually Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving. I'm about to head to my parents' house for Thanksgiving dinner, but I just finished Emma and I'm in such a reading mood. I want to go ahead and spin the wheel and pick my next book before the sun sets because I don't really want to film that when I get home from dinner, but I know I'm gonna be in the mood to read. I'm gonna tell you guys my thoughts on this tomorrow, also when it is light outside, but I really liked it. I liked it more than I thought I would, and volume 3, because this is split up into 3 volumes, was genuinely so good. But now I have my wheel that I want to spin. I'm now down to, I think, 25 books. Let me just double check. Yeah, okay. 25 books, and I haven't counted them since I last spun the wheel, so I don't really remember like what books are what number. So this is going to be really interesting. I'm a bit nervous because War and Peace is one of these unread books, and I actually have a lot of just bigger books on my shelf that I haven't read in general, so this could be interesting. But I'm gonna screen record because I think I forgot last time, and now I have the sun, so great things. Okay, so I'm screen recording now, and let's see what I land on. I feel like I should be more nervous than I am. I don't know. Okay, whatever. Okay, I got book number 21, so this is also towards the bottom. I think Emma was like 15 or 16, so let's see what number 21 is. 19, 20. Ooh, okay. Okay, so I bought this. I genuinely don't really even know what this is. This is The Wall by Jean-Paul Sartre. I actually got this at a secondhand bookstore that I absolutely am in love with in Providence. And I just got it because it's Sartre and I've never seen it before. Okay, I think it's fiction. It says, in the 5 stories included in this collection, The Wall, The Room, Erostratus, Intimacy, and the Childhood of a Leader, the French master of existentialism displays his powers of narrative and psychological insight at their most effective. Sartre's characters and situations mirror the conflicts, complexities, neuroses, and sensuality of the 20th century. His intellectual underworld includes a modern Erostratus who is compelled to murder, a psychotic who communicates his hallucinations to his formerly sane spouse, an unfaithful wife still bound to her impotent husband, a boy's metamorphosis into an anti-Semitic fascist, and the astonishing fate of a political prisoner. That sounds like a lot, but I'm kind of happy I got a shorter book. This is 144 pages. And yeah, I really never heard of this until I saw it in that bookstore. And I haven't read anything by Sartre since Nausea, which it's been, I think, 3 years since I first read that book, which is one of my all-time favorites. And it also started my Russian literature journey. So I'm really excited to read this. I'm gonna try and give it a go maybe tonight or early tomorrow morning, just depending on what time I get back. But yeah, let's read The Wall by Sartre. Hello. It is the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday. Go get your fun Black Friday deals. So as I said yesterday, I finished Emma. I gave this 4 stars, but now that I'm thinking about it, maybe like 3.75, definitely higher than a 3.5, but I don't know if it necessarily hits a 4-star read for me. And it's really because this book is split into 3 volumes, and the first 2 volumes I wasn't really enjoying, to be honest. I didn't hate it. I didn't feel like DNFing this book, but I kind of just wanted the story to end, and that's not a great sign. But then volume 3, love it so much. I just love the whole subplot of Jane Fairfax and her character and everything that comes of that. We also get Emma and Mr. Knightley. We get a little bit of their romance, which I wish we got more of, even though I don't agree with their romance in modern times, but we will overlook the 20-year age gap and brother-in-law situation. I liked Emma's friendship with Harriet, even though she continued to do Harriet a bit dirty. I liked Emma overall as a character. I think Jane Austen was really able to show just different sides of her, different complexities that she has. So many people love Emma, love Jane Austen. I just don't know if she'll ever be a favorite of mine, and that's okay. I did like this better than Pride and Prejudice. I noticed that I didn't really want to pick this book up, but when I did, I couldn't stop reading it. So I'm kind of having mixed feelings with Emma. But overall, I did like it. I liked how this story wrapped up, and if it's something you've been wanting to read, I would recommend it. I started reading The Wall by Jean-Paul Sartre. Definitely a much needed switch after Jane Austen. I've read the first 2 short stories in here. Actually, I came home from Thanksgiving dinner yesterday and I read The Wall. Honestly, didn't love it. The Wall is about 3 men who are arrested for participating in some Spanish anarchist group. I can't remember the name of it, but they're arrested and they're sentenced to firing squad the following day. So the main point of this short story is to just show their like physical reaction to knowing they're gonna die. And our main character, Pablo, he sees his 2 friends that he's in the cell with taken off to the firing squad. He hears the shots. The police officers ask Pablo if he knows where one of his friends are hiding out, and if he tells the police they'll release him, he won't die. And Pablo doesn't want to give the guy up because he's already become accustomed to death, knowing he's gonna die. Why would he trade that? Like, he doesn't see the necessity of life anymore. It's definitely supposed to be like a psychological dissection of like death and madness, but I don't think the story is long enough to really delve in that deep. And I honestly didn't care for it. I've read Nausea, which is one of my favorite books. I love Sartre's plays. I've read like all of them a very long time ago, but this story was not up to par with any of those works of his, so I say skip The Wall. I do. The next short story in here is The Room, which I liked a lot more. This story is maybe 20 pages, maybe a little longer. It's about this woman named Eve. She is married to a man who is considered crazy. He should be in a sanatorium, but Eve is living in her apartment with him. This story is divided into 2 parts. The first part is really her parents and their views on the situation. Eve's dad tries to talk sense into Eve and get her to leave, but she doesn't want to. And then the second part is Eve's perspective on everything. And it's really interesting because the dad's point of view has some really great quotes. One of them is, he was insane enough to be in a straitjacket, and she respected his decisions and advice as if he still had good sense. Because the dad thinks Eve should leave. He's not going to get any better. The doctors say he's not going to get better. He's going to get worse. Yet Eve just kind of almost goes along with his unreasonableness that like stems from his psychological condition. And she doesn't try to ever reason with him. She doesn't try to even really get him help. They're kind of just in their apartment and she won't admit him to the sanatorium. So just feeding the madness almost. And then in Eve's part, it's her saying that she doesn't feel like she belongs with normal people like her dad says, because she's been in this craziness for so long, like that is her normal. But being with him is making her crazy. And then the last line, she suggests she might kill him. So that was really interesting, and I liked what Sartre did in terms of delving into their psychological minds. I really enjoyed that. And it did make me think of Nausea and the main character, because at the end of that book, I believe he leaves France, or where he's staying in France, and I could see Pierre, the man who is insane in this story, like I could see Antoine kind of like being Pierre or having those same issues. So I was like, maybe this is a continuation of Nausea a little bit. Like, that's how it felt to me. So I did like The Room. I still have 3 other stories to read in here. I'll probably just give you an update when I finish it. I actually might finish this today. I just want to read today. Like, that's all I want to do. So those are my current updates. But yeah, I'll come back, I guess, when I finish this. I hope this angle isn't weird when I like actually look at it on my laptop because I can't really see. But I'm here to report that I finished The Wall by Jean-Paul Sartre, and I want to give you guys my thoughts. So I talked about the first 2 stories yesterday. I read the last 3, the next one being Erostratus, and my notes on this one was that our main character is a more misogynistic Raskolnikov. I definitely got Crime and Punishment vibes from this character. He believes in the idea that he's superior to others. He brings up Napoleon. He wants to kill people because he just hates humanity. And it was a very dark experience, to be honest. He does fail in his efforts to kill others, which is great. Sartre is just really exploring his neuroses in this short story. But there's one thought in this story that really stuck out to me. So our main character, Paul, he is setting out to kill people because he hates humanity. And he is writing a letter and sending it out to a bunch of people as to why he's doing this. And in this letter, he says, "Even the tools I used, I felt belonged to them. Words, for example. I wanted my own words, but the ones I use have dragged through I don't know how many consciences. They arrange themselves in my head by virtue of the habits I've picked up from the others, and it is not without repugnance that I use them in writing to you." So it really made me think how much everything is just tied to humans being social creatures. So much is tied to society, and I never thought that the words that I use, the words you use, would I think that all stems from other people, from society. And that, I think that really stuck out to me because I definitely see myself as an introvert. I like being alone. I prefer it, if I'm honest, than being in a group full of people. But Paul is right. Like, every word I say, it's connected to other people in some way. My chair that I'm sitting on was made by other people. This pillow was made by other people and was shipped to my house by people. Like, everything in life is tied to human connection in a way. And that's just never something that I thought of until I read this short story. I don't know, I really like this idea. It stuck out to me. I want to dig into it deeper. If you have read anything that explores that idea or even just talks about it, please let me know in the comments because it's something that I really want to dig into. The next short story in here was Intimacy, and I don't really have any thoughts on this. This was my least liked story. I think it had the least amount of depth. It's about this woman who, she like kind of wants to leave her husband because he's impotent, and she has the opportunity to run away with this hottie named Pierre, and her best friend is kind of encouraging it. So our main character does leave, but then she ultimately comes back to her husband Henry, and that's that. It had some great descriptions, but at the same time it was very graphic, so I don't know, it just missed the mark for me a bit. And then the last story is The Childhood of a Leader. This, I think, is classified as a novella. Actually, it's the longest short story in here. It was really great. It had a lot of depth. It explored so many different topics. Our main character is Lucian, and it follows him from very young childhood to kind of like end of high school, early adulthood. And we talk about so many different things: gender roles, societal roles, homosexuality, anti-Semitism, fascism. So many different things are in this short story, and there's so much to be explored. I think what's really interesting about this, though, is it really shows how different people in your life can influence you, shape your ideas, and inform your path in life. I will say Lucian is, going through adolescence at this point, and that's when people are their most impressionable. So he first meets this other boy from school, Burliak, who introduces Lucian to all these philosophical ideas, specifically Freud and the Oedipus complex. He then goes to meet this other man, I'm kind of confused on the age here, who just intensifies those philosophical ideas. And then in school, he also meets another boy who kind of influences him to join this political group where, as the back of the book says, Lucian becomes an anti-Semitic fascist. It's a very interesting short story, mainly about influence. I think if you're going to read any of the stories in here, it should be that one. That one and The Room were my favorites, but I don't know. I didn't really love this short story collection. I will say this is much darker in themes and just in like how it's written than Nausea and Sartre's plays. So be mindful of that if you do want to pick this up. It can be very graphic. It honestly feels a little cursed at some points. So I'm glad I read it. It definitely gave me a dose of Sartre that I needed, but some of it was just way too dark than what I wanted to read right now. So I gave this overall 3 stars. And now that I finished this book, I think we can go spin the wheel and pick another. Let's do it. We are back in front of the bookshelf. I fear I'm about to be humbled, but we'll see. Okay, so I now have 24 unread books on this shelf. I have my wheel up. I'm gonna start screen recording and I guess I'll see my fate. I'm feeling kind of confident right now. Okay, we're spinning. I'm nervous. Okay, now I'm nervous, I don't know. Ooh, okay. 16. 16. I'm thinking, is this actually Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen? I feel like she's around there. I don't know. Let's count. 12, 13. Okay, so we're past Sense and Sensibility. Thank God. 14. 15. 16? Are we doing 16? Okay, wait, I'm excited about this one. I've been wanting to read this for a little bit now. This is Nervous Conditions by, I'm gonna butcher this, Tsitsi Dangarembga. I think it's a story of 2 sisters and it really focuses on education. I think one of the sisters is able to, I don't know if she comes to America or is in the UK and she's able to get an education, and the other one is in Zimbabwe and does not have that access. That's really all I know about it though, and that's kind of all I want to know. I'm really excited about this pick, so I'm going to start reading this probably today and I'll give you guys an update once I made some progress. Hey guys, so I'm back home and I finished Nervous Conditions by Tsitsi Dangarembga. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I absolutely love this book. I gave it 5 stars. Our main character, Tambu, I just loved her. I loved reading about her growing up on the homestead, what that type of life was like, how she then was transitioning to living with her uncle and her cousin, Yasha. I loved their friendship. There were a lot of complex relationships within that family that we got to explore. And just overall, Tambu's observations, is what really made this book stand out to me. I actually found out that this is part of a trilogy, so I definitely want to continue it. I think this is a great place to start if you haven't explored African lit like I haven't, because one, it's super accessible to read, and I think it really explores colonial and post-colonial living very well, which kind of pervades most of Africa, if not every country there. So I thought this was really excellent. Highly recommend this. And because I finished this so quickly, I had to go to the bookstore and buy another book, which I know defeats the whole purpose of this challenge, but I still had like 4 days left in Rhode Island and I needed a book. So I went to this really awesome independent bookstore in Providence. I love it so much. It's called Paper Nautilus. If you're in the area, I highly recommend that you go because they have such great book picks and everything is reasonably priced. Like most of the books I've gotten there are $7 or $8. I can't even tell if this is a secondhand bookstore. I assume they are because the prices are so low, but every book I've gotten from there has looked brand new. And this is my case in point. So I got Cain by Jose Saramago. I have been wanting to read Saramago for a while now, but I didn't really want to take on blindness. And I saw his book Cain, I think on Goodreads a while ago. I stumbled upon it and it just looked super good. This looks like pretty much brand new. And this was $7.50, and I've literally never seen this in a Barnes & Noble before. That bookstore is just so good, and please check it out if you're in the area. So good. I read Cain by Saramago, and this was actually his last publication. This is the last thing he ever wrote, and it is a satirical retelling of Cain and Abel, mostly Cain. He kills his brother pretty early on. You also get a little bit of Adam and Eve, their start in the garden, them having Cain and Abel. We come across a lot of other different religious figures from the Bible. We come across Moses, Noah, Abraham, and then we have God poking in and out of the story. And this is satirical, so there are a decent amount of like funny bits making fun of religion, but then we also have a more philosophical standpoint of, okay, well, why does God let this happen? Why does God essentially want to wipe out this batch of humans and have Noah's Ark only save like a certain amount of people and then all the animals? Like, why does God want that? Shouldn't God's goodness prevail through all of us? So there are some more philosophical questionings in here that I really enjoyed because I did grow up going to Catholic school, so I do know a lot of the basics of the stories mentioned in here, and it was just nice to, I don't know, think about those things because it is true. But I thought this was really good. It was short, super fast paced actually. I think I finished this in maybe a day or two, and it makes me want to read more Saramago. I do want to read Blindness at some point, and I think if you have read it and want to read more, I think this could be a good fun pick. So that is it for this video. I think I now have 23 unread books in my collection, which I will continue to read through 2026. I do really want to try not to buy books next year, which, saying it out loud and really thinking about it, makes me unhappy. I'll say that. It's not really what I want to do, but at the same time, I have so many unread books that I don't need to buy new ones. But that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I know I haven't posted in a long time, and I'm so sorry. I hope you all have a happy holiday and a happy new year, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.